Hi, everybody. Yay, we're having a fun chat today. It's going to be a good one.
Everybody wants to know about love, right?
Yes. Yes. And we're talking about soulmates and twin flames today because I don't know, it needs to be talked about. Yeah. People get crazy over this stuff.
Say the twin flame phenomena is
Man. Yeah.
like summed up in those documentaries, and that's what we're talking about today. Is those documentaries on what's it called? Twin Flames
University.
University.
Yeah. And so just to be specific, so there are two documentaries. They're a series, they're both limited series. One's actually on Amazon Prime, the other one is on Netflix, and they both talk about the same people on this. And these people are guaranteeing that you will find your twin flame if you join this group. Guaranteeing. And they're and you take and it's a monthly subscription kind of thing where they coach you on how to find your twin flame. And it's crazy. So watch it. So
It's
you know what
on
we're talking about.
Amazon Prime and then also Netflix. So it's the same people, right? The same.
It's yes, same people, a different angle. Yeah. These people are there's something seriously wrong with both of these. It's a couple. Yeah. And they're capitalizing on people's loneliness. Basically, they're finding people who are lonely, and there's a lot of lonely people, and they're guaranteeing that you will find your twin flame. And the twin flame phenomenon, I don't remember when I started hearing about twin flames. 20 years ago. I do you remember when you started hearing that actual term twin flame?
It was in the New Age community. Like it would come up
Mhm.
every once in a while with
Yeah.
different people that were well versed in that.
Yeah. And there's soulmates, which is something different. It's a different thing. And twin flames is what it's supposed to mean I think the idea behind it is that when you individuate and come in as a soul, that soul splits up into two pieces. And so that's the other part of your soul is your twin flame. So true, not true. I actually have heard that it is true, but to find that is very rare because what are the chances that
Yeah.
you're going to find that person? I have been part of two groups, and one of them was a cult where the leaders of this group said that they were twin flames. Now, the one when I was a part of it, the woman who pretty much ran the show, and this is I don't even know if I want to name it, Quilonic Science, Kathara, if you've heard of that, Ashiana Dean. I was part of that group for 7 years, so I know a lot of the
Oh,
backstory there. And a lot of people have heard of Ashiana Dean. I did her hair
oh
when it looked
wow.
good. It's usually her hair looked bad. So,
But it would look good. It was
but
Lorina.
yes. Anyways, so I was part of that group. I was in her hotel room when she was downloading. I have been to her home. I know this woman. She humiliated. She was speaker number one. He was speaker number two, her husband. She, at some point, like this was in 2012. They were having a big workshop. She got up in front of everybody and told the whole group, and this is a big group of probably maybe 300 people, that he abused her, that he did all these things. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but she ousted him in front of everybody at a workshop and found another boyfriend who had more money. Okay, this could be scandalous saying this stuff, but they were twin flames. They were twin flames. He was so humiliated. But the thing is, she did that to her second husband. He was her third husband. She did the same thing to him. She ousted him in front of a group of people and completely humiliated him and found another husband. Like, had already found him, actually. They weren't
Oh, like
married yet.
lined somebody up before she took off. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Anyway, they were supposed to be twin flames. And I think he was so humiliated and done so much for that group that I think that he is not alive any longer. He probably died early because of what happened to him in
Yeah.
that group. Anyway, the point is they were supposed to be twin flames. Were they twin flames? I don't think so. I know another group, two people who say that they are twin flames. She's a channeler.
Mhm.
Now they're still together. So maybe they are.
But the bigger question though is what is well, and not to interrupt you because I'll tell you. Do you remember what Debbie Solaris said about twin flames?
No, what?
Oh, I don't know, like, are you? I don't want to interrupt, but
No, please go for it.
I explained to you a little bit in our prep chat that I did not really believe in a lot of that stuff. I'm not really like a romantic in the sense of partners I've had in the past. I wasn't like, oh, this is a soulmate, or I feel like I've known certain people that are like in my life. Yeah, I have known them before, and that in my mind is soulmates, regardless if they are romantic or just a friend or family. To me, that's my soul family. That's how I always thought of it. But it wasn't until a journey that I was shown like that it does exist. And it
You
was
mean
being
soulmate or
twin flames.
okay.
And it was a little bit of a mind, the F word, because I was like, I don't really believe in that. A, and then B, when it was like shown to me how like humans have like completely shifted into something that's in this dimension. Basically, what I was shown in this dimension, it's very hard for you to A, meet up with your twin flame, and B, if you're not fully healed, your twin flame will basically, you'll each kind of almost wreck each other's lives because it's such a big mirror that it's not always like it's the person that you love, hate the most probably out of anybody you've ever met in your life. But that could be
I've
like
heard that.
and that was my experience because who I was shown, it was like, so yeah, and I'm not going to go into it, but and they still to this day, I'm like, God, I can't believe that's who that was. Because literally, that is very true for me. It just, anyways, we're not going to go there. So I'm still on the fence. Like, what I saw, was that real? Because you know how you doubt your experiences when you have those experiences or those downloads. But yeah, and
How did you see that? How did that come to you?
On ayahuasca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was not looking for that information at all. And so that's why for me, it's hard for me not to believe it because there was no way that was not on my radar when I got that information.
Yeah.
And then to be told specifically, this person has already made their mind up about you and has told like they're here to teach you something really big and really bring up all of your worst, not like the things my worst wounding. So that you can be like, that's their job, each of you. So it's not always like a sexual romantic partnership. Like a lot of times it's about pulling up and helping each other alchemize.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is. But that's what it was for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I've heard that before that other part of you, that twin flame, that other spark of you, that if you're not healed, it can be very dramatic between the two of you because of that. You're triggering each other at a deeper level.
Yeah.
So that's certainly very possible. Yeah. So I don't know if I've met my twin flame ever.
No.
It's like, no, probably not. But what I do, I had a best friend. His name was John Law. And I met him at around 21 or so. He was my best friend. We had this simpatico thing that I know that he's one of my soulmates, but I think we have more than one soulmate. He was gay. He had red hair. He's from Idaho. Oh. My dad loved him. Wanted me to marry him. I'm like, Dad, I'm not going to marry someone who's gay.
That's so funny.
But he meant all that. He was raised Mormon. He's from Idaho. My dad's from
Uh-huh.
Idaho. Like, he's perfect. No, anyway, it's not, there's a slight issue in there. But
Yeah.
we were, there was such a connection between us. And I know I got information about us in past lives together. But when we were together, it was like, we're a couple. We are a couple. And it was beautiful. And it was just this connection and ease. There was this that was there. Loved each other. He actually died of AIDS, like around
Oh,
19. So he was my best friend for 10 years. But that I can say we were he's one of my soulmates. But a soulmate, the thing about soulmates, and if you are into Michael Newton's books, I
mhm.
think he's only 2 books. One is Journey of Souls. So you get into like soul groups, like you
Yeah, so
became a spirit at the same time. So you're a part of this soul group. It makes a lot of sense to me. And they really get into it being on the other side and what that looks like. You're part of the same soul group. So you became a spirit or individuated into a spirit at the same time. So you're part of the same group. So there is a simpatico there. You've had a lot of lifetimes together. So you played a lot of roles with each other. And there's a deep connection. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think that is true and right. And so your soulmate could be your granddaughter or your aunt or
Yeah.
best friend. It's not necessarily a romantic partner. But usually if you do get married, there is a connection there, a karmic connection, past lives. Yeah. But we can really be thrown off by all of this soulmate stuff and the expectation behind that and the twin flame thing and what that is supposed to look like, because it might not be what is generated in the new age concept of what that is. It's,
It's creepy what it's being
yeah.
twisted into by in general. I feel like in general, because it's often painted as this person is one is the runner, one's the chaser.
Yeah.
And then you have to like all the stipulations that go with that. And it's always romantic based. It's always based on this is your person. It can be like very obsessive, like that
Yeah.
stalkery. Even in the documentary, the way they were talking to some of the people, like, this is your twin flame. You have to do everything. You have to show up and be there and make them love you. And I'm like, you're basically asking people to stalk. They're like,
Yeah.
they're giving these people like it's your spiritual duty. That's what they were telling them to
Yeah.
stalk your twin flame.
And some of these people get restraining orders against them.
Yeah. And then
And
they're
end up
told
in
that they
jail.
failed. They're by those two
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And told that they failed. And so there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
This is wrong. I've had I've had people come into me for energy healings and readings who say, this person is my soulmate or this person is my twin flame. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that. And one specific time, and this guy did not want to hear, he did not want to hear, no, she's not.
Mhm.
But I couldn't say anything different. I could not say, yeah, she's your soulmate. It's like this, and I knew the woman too. Um, anyway, and when she came in, I did mention, so this guy thinks that you're her soulmate. And I usually don't cross that line of like giving information, but she already knew that
Yeah.
he thought that. And she's no, he is so not. It's the same kind of scenario that someone gets obsessed with this idea that
Yeah.
you're my soulmate or my twin flame, and that's that. And so I must have you. This is
I
not
started
healthy.
what I started to realize with that kind of thinking when it
Mm,
becomes like obsessive, that the person usually has like some wounding. I don't know how you feel about this. There's a wounding where they feel like it has to be this person.
mm,
Otherwise, it's all or nothing in the sense of I have to make it happen because the universe will not, there's nothing else. It's like a lack, like almost like a lack thing that's going on there. If this doesn't work, then there's nothing for me and I have to force this. And that's what I feel a lot of that can be,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's forced. Yeah. Yeah. That's coming. I think you're right. That's coming from a place of wounds. being wounded and not a true connection. Yeah, true connections. There's an ease with a real true connection. Even though there's uncomfortability around meeting people and getting to know them and vulnerability too. But there is something deeper that's there that connects, that is different. Yeah. I had this really weird experience once where I sometimes beings say things to me, and I have never been steered wrong when these types of things happen. So this is a big lesson. So what happened was, and this is in the middle of the night, I hear this voice come in and say, this person is your soulmate. Like, define this person as your soulmate. And I'm like, oh, like in a really loud, booming voice outside of my head. And I sat up in bed and I'm like, what? Okay, wow. And the thing is, it was a woman and she was a friend and she lives in a different state. Anyway, so I'm like, what do I do about this? And I have a friend who is a medium and a psychic, and I asked him about it, and I'm not touching that. I'm not even going to, I'm not going to answer that. And then he said, Lorina, soulmates, and this is the same message, soulmates are not necessarily a romantic partner.
Right.
And I knew that was, he reiterated that. At some point, I didn't call her. I sent her an email saying, hey, and this was after much thought, because I'm like, what am I going to do about this? Because it was such a loud voice. Anyway, so I sent her an email just explaining everything and really putting myself out there, being very vulnerable, because I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to have this kind of relationship with her, a romantic relationship. I had to get it out and express this. Anyway, I can't remember her response, but she never spoke to me again.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like, oh man, that ruined a friendship. And it was somebody that I felt very connected to and loved on some level and admired her.
right.
And she was a really fun person. And I loved being around her when I did see her, which was not often. Anyway, so that was a lesson to me.
Yeah.
that whatever trickster spirit like did, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Whatever trickster spirit that was messing with me, and that there was a trickster spirit messing with me, and that was a learning. And the thing is, and I look back at it, what happened when things like that happen, where I do get messages, it was very different than the usual ones that I get. Mm-hmm. It was like, this is this and that's that, and boom. So you need to connect with her, kind of thing, like energy, like this booming, like energy coming in my room. And I have received messages like that but were incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was a weird experience. So
well, maybe she was, but like she interpreted it like wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We don't speak to each other. So, be careful who you think are your soulmates. And when my nephew was born, there was something, my first nephew, when he was born, and I held him, and he was in the hospital for a little bit of time because he was so tiny. But when I first held him, and he was only like 5 pounds, he was a tiny little thing, I fell so instantly in love with him. Oh my God, this little kid, there's something about him. I didn't give birth to him. He's my nephew. There's a connection there. So I think that he's probably part of the same soul group, soulmate, soul group.
Right.
We've known each other through many lifetimes, and there is that connection that's there. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Even
though he's done some really incredibly stupid things.
Well, it's like in that book, Journey of Souls. I remember, I've read it a long time ago, but I remember them talking about like your soul family, like your core, like a nuclear family. Mm-hmm. And then there could be like, I would call them like pods that like around you were like other cells of soul families. Mm-hmm. And then oftentimes when you would incarnate with your nuclear like soul family, but then the people from the surrounding cells could be like guest starring and doing important roles for you too in your lifetimes.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And there are a lot of books about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that talk about that. The characters in our lives are playing roles in our lives, and they probably are soulmates. But some aren't, because I've seen when I do energy healing and some Akashic record readings where people like, no, this person who is your sister, you lived some lifetimes together, but you're not part of the same soul group.
Mm.
They're very different energies that are there. Or your mother is actually from a different soul group. She's not part of your soul group. So there is a foreign, the connection is not as much as if they were part of your soul group. It would be a deeper connection there. I've seen things like that. Yeah. So a lot of people could be part of our soul group that we're playing out roles with. Yeah.
I've
Anyway.
learned through some series of like healing and not psychedelic. This is outside of that, but like some like body work and hypnotherapy that a lot of my soul group didn't come. Like I'm here without them. And so a lot of my
Oh,
grief that has been like
mhm.
clearing is like really
Uh-huh.
wanting to be back with that nuclear soul family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That makes
it,
sense.
it is part of
Yeah.
like my deeper loneliness. That's just okay. When do I get to go back and be with them? It doesn't mean I don't have a
Yeah.
good life here in like
Yeah.
connections. It's just, yeah,
Yeah. And I think that can be true. Yeah. That we didn't bring in a lot of our soul groups in this lifetime. So you are alone. So you do feel like the odd man in the
hmm
family. Like you're just disconnected in a way. Yeah. That absolutely can be. And I think that speaks to a lot of loneliness or heartbreak that people suffer from, that and want to seek that connection and find it. It's like finding, that's a big term that people use these days, finding your tribe. Who is your
yeah,
tribe? Where are those people that I'm really connected to? I need to find those people. But soulmate, there's more, I don't know, there's more hanging on that. There's more importance in that, uh, it's almost like being raised Mormon. It's being raised Mormon and being like a girl or well, whatever, girl, guy, you're supposed to find your mate. Now, it's the most important thing for you to get married in the temple. You're supposed to find your mate who's the opposite sex, who you are supposed to live with for time and all eternity.
wait,
There is that much importance
oh my
on
gosh,
that person is your person that
yeah.
you will be married to in heaven through time and all eternity and have your own planet and have spirit babies. That is a lot of importance. So there's a lot of women in Utah. This is what I experienced, running around going, where's my person? Where's my guy? Where's my guy?
So
And how important that.
if you were left single, what happened in Mormon religion? So you never was.
Oh,
That's
oh,
the
honey, there's something wrong. I'm so sorry you haven't found your person. Yeah,
oh,
you know, it's bad. When I was 24 and not married, I remember talking to this woman who was super Mormon, and she found out I wasn't married yet. And and that's exactly, oh, you'll find someone one day. That's so sad.
you're a lost woman without a planet. You're going to be floating in outer
Yeah,
space for all of
yeah,
eternity.
yeah. That's for me. I'm like, and I'm going, I'm fine. Really. I'm fine. And she thought I was just saying that.
Yeah.
So that I might not start crying in front of her from dying of loneliness because I hadn't found my soulmate who I will be married to for time and all eternity.
So funny.
Yeah, that's funny. And when I couldn't convince her, she was sure that was my plight in life.
There's no other
My
pathway as a single
yeah,
person, regardless if you're a male,
yeah,
female, or in between.
yeah. And I was
Um,
23 or 24, and she saw me as an old maid.
wow.
So, and that's another thing with this Twin Flames University thing is they're telling people what gender they should be.
Yeah, that's creepy
That
because they believe so strongly in a twin gender partnership that one has to be the masculine and the other has to be the feminine, that they're actually telling people to change their gender identities. And right there's a lot that was red flags before that. But if people did not see the red flags before that, that was just screaming cults,
Yeah.
narcissism,
Yeah.
psychopaths. Did you see at the end of the second Netflix? I didn't see it in the Amazon one. They went on to have a baby.
Yes, I saw that.
They had a baby, and I'm like, oh my God, that poor child. But
Yeah, that's bad. That poor kid. Yeah, but the thing is, it's rough enough being human, and especially now with the whole gender diversity and who you are and what role you're playing. And oh my God, it was rough in the 80s because there was like this whole androgyny thing going on. And it's actually fun. But anyway, and then it moved into this now where there's a lot of confusion about defining who you are sexually and finding and naming that. There's confusion about naming it too. Somebody else coming in and telling you what you are. Oh, you're male on the inside, and so you need to start going through a transgender process. And some
getting
of these people are like,
surgery.
"Oh, no, I'm not." Yeah, that is insane.
But they still did it. And that's how badly I
I
think.
know. Well, that is just sad.
And I think we have about
Oh,
9 minutes left, but I want to
okay.
segue into, but I think that's how badly people want love. And that's how wounded we are with thinking that we have to do so much drasticness to ourselves, whether it be on the outside
Mhm.
or just to change completely to be loved.
Yeah.
It's like a disorder and a sickness. And what I wanted to segue us into is Lorraine and I both do intuitive readings. And I wanted to ask you how do you enjoy doing love readings? Like readings
Oh,
for love?
they're
I'm laughing because I already probably know what you're going to say.
they're tricky. They're really tricky. I really dislike telling people, and I may know that there are a couple in there with someone else, that I see them ending up with someone else.
Yeah.
That's not enjoyable. So I have to tell someone that, or to see that it's just not going to work out, or it is going to work out. There is so much expectation around that it's coming from the person who's being read to maneuver around. It's difficult. I
Yeah.
But sometimes though, two people together that are so like, yeah, oh my God, yeah, you're meant to be together.
They won
But
the
we have
lotto.
so much, yeah, that's a good way to put it. But there's so much expectation and in what we want that it makes it difficult to read.
Right.
Just because of me wanting everyone to be happy
Yeah.
and I want to tell them what they want to hear, but you cannot.
Right. Yeah.
It's that's delicate. That's very delicate.
I
Yeah.
think I honestly believe, and I do enjoy, it took me a while to understand how to do love readings. And, but the way I do it is probably not the way most people want it. When people come to me for love readings, I always start with, hey, let's look at energy blocks you have around yourself. Let's look at the energy of the relationship and like the other person's blocks. So that you can understand what's not working and you can fix it. I don't really feel sometimes that, oh, like that we're really meant to be like, oh, this is going to work out for you, or that's not going to work out for you. We can see that based on what's going on with the dynamics, that people don't realize how much power they have to change and heal and maybe make it work if they change the energy between them. So in that level, I do doing love readings if people are willing for that. But other than that, I know what you're saying. I don't like to tell them, because people often hire somebody to read them because they want to be told what they want to hear.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, but that's a good way to look at it, is what's blocking. How can we heal this, and what's blocking the situation? Because there is a lot that you can do around that. There is
yeah.
energy work or that can help remove those blocks
Yeah.
so that you can come together and actually both be clearer and more honest and authentic with each other. Yeah, absolutely.
And Lorena is she does more of long distance healing. I used to do more in person, even though you do long distance and in person because of my acupuncture practice. But with you, if people felt compelled to do a reading with you about love, they can also receive energy work.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes
For
it just happens spontaneously in the middle of a reading.
yeah.
Hold on. Something's happening.
So
That's
you do
always happens.
so you do like help people. We're talking about soulmates, we're talking about love and psychic abilities. So that was if anybody out there feels pulled, you would do that too. You would do that work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
It's looking at everything.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 But don't fall for the soulmate twin flame thing. It's rare. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I have seen people who absolutely, I can't say they were twin flames, but they were like, just there's something that's so simpatico between the two of them that is really beautiful. We can have that. We can find that. It does exist.
It does. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be like, I think what we're seeing in media and social media about twin flames is almost like a mask for codependent toxic relationships. It's like it's got a lot of similarities, and often it's like a narcissistic abuse type of dynamic too. So you got to be careful with actually wanting that and like chasing what you're being told that is a twin flame dynamic, because it's painted in a really weird way on top of things that I would not consider healthy or want in my love life.
Yeah. Oh, you named it fully. You got it. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I agree completely. Yeah. It's masked. Yeah. Codependency, toxic relationships, and just we all have a lot of healing that we need to do. So it is difficult to find a relationship that is very genuine because it triggers our stuff. Being in a relationship triggers all of our stuff. That's it's not easy.
What did I read? I read the other day, it said something about if you really want the highest ceremony. I think it was in a plant medicine post on like Instagram. It's like the deepest ceremony you'll ever be in is to choose to stay committed within a healthy relationship, because that person is going to teach you the most about yourself and your ability to adapt in relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I agree. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Maybe next time we got to talk about this whole thing that like a lot of it's very trendy with the whole like the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This is the role with the healed. I think that would be really good for everybody out there to hear some of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd be good. And if you're get a dog. Where is he? Get a dog.
If you're
or a cat.
Did I ever tell you? And like, but everybody out there is going to hear this story. I always joked around in my head that I wanted this guy and I wanted him to be my rock. Did I ever tell you the story? This is how I would say to the universe, I want somebody just my rock, somebody who's really present, keeps me grounded and stuff. And the universe is really funny how they send you things, but it sent me a guy named Grovel, which spelled looks like gravel. It was a name. His name was he had a Caribbean name, and it was really unique. But anyways, and it ended up not being a good match for us both, like not putting him down at all. But soon after we broke up, and I ended up fostering my dog, and I subconsciously named him Rocky. And then later on, I was like, I got my rock. I didn't even read on my rock. So get a dog.
Rocky. You got a rock.
Yeah. And he's sleeping over there in his dog bed. But all right, we got less than 1 minute now to say goodbye to the viewers.
Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah. It's fun talking to you all about love.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day.
Till next time.
Till next time.